Y'all, you knew, we knew, they all knew, everyone knew. Well, now DNI Tulsi Gabbard just dropped the hard smoking gun that says Obama was directly implicated in the whole Russiagate thing, pushing false information. Guys, this is a story of the century, and it's brand new. And everything I've got for you is going to be linked right in the description box below. Please send this one out because this is everything. This is the whole ball of wax. This is all the marbles. This is the entire problem of which we've been struggling in the two-way space, in the other right space, every space. Make sure you send this one out. This is a really big one. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Guys, we have got to dive into this. And I'm just going to tell you real quick why we're diving into this. Because this is the core root of the issue of which has to be resolved for the faith and institutions in our country. The main thing that we struggle with in the 2A space, in the everyday space, is people don't trust that their legislators are not corrupted. They don't trust that the system is not corrupted. They don't trust the institutions across the board, which is the underlying way that you destroy a nation. If we do not have trust, we have nothing. This is the core root of the problem. Everything we deal with comes back to this. That's why we're covering this. Because if we don't cover things that other people care about, they're not going to care about our stuff. Guys, this is huge. All right, new document dump. As I mentioned, everything will be linked in the description. Follow me at Braden, LOA on X. DNI Tulsi Gabbard just released reports proving that Obama directly gave the order to publish the Russia collusion hoax, knowing there was no proof that Putin backed Trump. Guys, this is one of those moments that is a wonder to be alive. Because we all knew, we all had that gut feeling. They were lying to us. There was manipulation. Something was off. You know that little gut feeling you have? Yeah. It just got dropped. Look at this document. I'm going to dive right into it because this is a very important document. Here are two documents that I want to show you what just dropped from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Most of the 15, this is from a House committee report, most of the 15 documents were unremarkable, but 3 contained flawed information, and these 3 became foundational sources the ICA cited to claim Putin's aspired to help Trump win. Senior CIA officers said some of the information in these reports had been judged to have not met various long-standing IC standards for publication. Not met standards for publication. Okay, more. And that is why they had not been published when first acquired. 2 sensitive reports were not published on DCIA's orders. See the footnote. The 3 reports were published after the election on DCIA orders, despite veteran CIA officer judgments that they contained substandard information that was unclear, of uncertain origin, potentially biased, implausible, or in the words of senior operations officers, odd. I'm going to read that one more time. And I'm going to get amped because this is what undermined the entire destruction of our infrastructure, of our institutions. This was it. The 3 reports, which were based around Russiagate, everything was based off of this. Despite veteran CIA officer judgments that they contained substandard information that was unclear, of uncertain origin, potentially biased, implausible, or in the words of senior operations officers, odd. Guys, this was a direct and total operation to undermine a duly elected president from the internal power structure of the CIA and the presidency. Where's the presidency come in? This next one. And I understand the gravity of what I'm saying. This is massively important. And we're going to expose sunlight on it. I mean, honestly, at this point, everything comes down to this. It's about the trust in our institutions and our nation. December 9th, DCIA Brennan, as in John Brennan, orders publication of substandard reporting on Russian activities during the election. Acting on President Obama's orders, DCIA Brennan directed a full review and publication of raw, it's an acronym, information that had been collected before the election. CIA officers said that some of this information had been held on the orders of the DCIA, while other reporting had been judged by experienced CIA officers to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the latter was unclear or from unknown subsources, but would nonetheless be published after the election over the objections of veteran officers. Okay, here's the payoff, the last thing. Over the objections of veteran officers on orders of DCIA and cited in the ICA to support claims that Putin aspired to help Trump win. What does this have to do with you, me, the Second Amendment, and our nation? Let me boil it down real clearly. Everything that has happened since this point has been called into question. You know, like the presidency of Biden and the assault on the Second Amendment, the assault on other rights, the assault on the entire right spectrum of the country. Guys, everything boils back down to this independent moment. This right here, the media's collusion on the attempt to frame the White House under Trump, the first term, as a Russian-inspired presidency, undermining anything that we could put forward from a gun rights perspective, from a rights in general perspective, from a nation perspective. All of it goes back to this point. And don't worry, I've got some more stuff I'm going to hit too. This right here has to be rectified. If this is not rectified, we will never see the reclamation of the trust in our institutions. I don't care who it was. I don't care if it has an R on it, if it has a D on it, it has an I on it. I don't give a shit. Because this is more important than partisan politics. This is our nation. This undermined completely the trust in our legislative system, which is why people don't believe that anything's going to get done. In our judicial system, nothing's going to get done. In our executive system, all of this goes back to this point. This is where it needs to be fixed. And here, right, it's so infuriating, to be candid, because a lot of the gun control and a lot of the infringement upon the Second Amendment came after this point. And a lot of the lack of defense, the two Senate seats in Georgia that were questioned under Trump's second election, all of this came to this one point. All right. And if you had any questions about if there's a tie-in or not, what I've got for you here is the White House spokesperson on December 14th, 2016. You remember that document that I just showed you? December 9th, the election was in 2016. December 9th, 2016. December 14th, 2016. You see that date right there? Listen to what the White House spokesperson says.
There's ample evidence that was known long before the election, and even in most cases long before October, about the Trump campaign in Russia. Everything from the Republican nominee himself calling on Russia to hack his opponent. It might be an indication that he was obviously aware and concluded, based on whatever facts or sources he had available to him, that Russia was involved, and their involvement was having a negative impact on his opponent's campaign. That's why he was encouraging them to keep doing it. You had the Republican nominee referred to the president of Russia as a strong leader. The Republican nominee chose a campaign chair that had extensive, lucrative, personal financial ties to the Kremlin. And it was obvious to those who were covering the race that the hack and leak strategy that had been operationalized was not being equally applied to the two parties and to the two campaigns.
Oh, asshole. So this was the spokesperson in the White House several days, about 5 days after all these documents were dropped. You think that's coincidental? And I'm just going to say something else really, really controversial. They made a plan to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump the first time, Donald Trump 1.0, which directly has a relation to everything I've been covering and all the trust and everything in our nation and our institutions, because they lost. Everything is lining up now, and now the proof is out there. In fact, one little thing that this smarmy little jackass just said, again, this is our country, so I have no problem cursing. So this guy just said that there's unlimited hacks that Russia was looking to destroy Hillary Clinton. Really? So remember, it was all this documentation that Russia was going to 100% out everything on Hillary Clinton, but nothing on Trump, and the DNC had no idea of anything, right? Well, it turns out that the whole DNC protecting presidents or presidential candidates that have extreme health concerns, it might be just a trend. They kind of have a penchant for it. Look at this. Yeah. As of September 2016, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service had Democratic National Committee information that Presidents Obama and party leaders found the state of Secretary Clinton's health to be extraordinarily alarming. And I'll link all this stuff. Really? The SVR also had information that Clinton suffered from type 2 diabetes, heart disease, deep vein thrombosis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. There's a campaign email discussing a plan approved by Secretary Clinton to link Putin and Russian hackers to candidate Trump in order to distract the American public from the Clinton email server scandal. Oh my God. Here's the thing. I'm going to cover the shit out of this. And the reason that I'm going to cover the shit out of this is because this is our country. This is bigger than one subtopic. I'm still covering all the stuff we normally cover. But this right here, this is a concerted effort which was meant to undermine the trust in institutions for their own political gain. That's what this was. And it's very obvious that's what this was. They have lost. They've now got their hand caught in the cookie jar. And DNI Tulsi Gabbard needs to be protected at all costs for releasing this information. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this one in the description box below, in the comments below. Let me know, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.